Welcome back to the Blue Clay Bikes channel. So today we're going to be doing a little segment called the Ride and Talk. And featured in this one is going to be the Norco Range VLT A1, which is an absolute monster of a trail bike. This thing is going to come stock mulleted with a 27.5 and a 29er up front, 180 millimeters of front travel, 170 millimeters in the rear, and it's going to be driven by the Bosch Performance Line CX motor. And to kind of round it all off, it's going to come with the stock DB8 SRAM 4-piston brakes and the Eagle drivetrain. And we can't forget the new high pivot design that they're going to be featuring on this bike, which is going to add that next level of suspension movement and bike control. So let's get into riding. All right, so first thoughts on this kind of trail right here. It's a super aggressive and rooty trail, and normally on any kind of hardtail or even basic full suspension bike, it's gonna lead to a lot of pop and that kind of getting that pedal stroke, and it's not gonna be very consistent. And on this thing, this monster, it absolutely ate it up. It put a smile on your face. You're able to just rip through it, powered by the Bosch CX line motor, and then having that rear vivid shock and the extra suppleness is able to just keep that back tire completely planted. The mullet setup really shined here too as well, and kind of that sharp turn up there. You're able to kind of pull the bike around a little bit. For it being such a long bike, it was able to make that turn. Let's get on to the next section. All right, so my last 2 cents on handling the tech section on this bike is this bike really blew it out of the water. I mean, it's able to just hug and keep the traction over all the roots, really handle those little divots and almost get that nice little supple pop off of that one little drop. It is a little bit long, it's a lot to handle, but once you get your chest over the bars, it definitely is able to handle some of those more aggressive quick turns a lot better. So now that we know how it kind of handles on the super tech and tight stuff, we're gonna hit this little flowy section and just see how it's able to kind of roll through the turns and carry speed. So let's get into it. All right, so to wrap up the video, I'm gonna leave you guys with my final thoughts on the bike. Overall, this bike is so much fun. It's really just made to just barrel through the trails and just kind of throw it around, very forgiving, but you can really beat on this bike. One thing I noticed is it does handle a little bit different. It's like a super long bike, so you got to handle it a little bit different. So if you're kind of in between sizes, definitely size the lower one, just so you can make sure that you keep your chest over the bars. That's what I noticed suited me best on this. One thing I was a little bit nervous, or apprehensive of kind of on this test ride was going to be the weight of this bike, just because it is a heavier bike. But after riding it and kind of getting a full view of the bike and the platform that it's on, I wouldn't change a thing. I feel like if it was any lighter, it would throw you around the trail just with how powerful the motor is and how raked out it is. So having that weight helps kind of stick you in the turns and kind of just belly over and mow over kind of like roots and just little obstacles. So I don't think the weight should be a deterrent at all. I almost think this bike uses that as an advantage. But the mullet setup makes it super nimble. That being said, being such a long bike, it makes it super agile, so you still are able to throw it through the trees, kind of handle all the little tight turns and corners and little descents and stuff like that for it being such a long travel bike. The high pivot on this makes the ride super supple, but no really pedal bob, and it just feels super efficient even when you're braking, kind of going down through those bumps. The brakes are able to handle the bike very well. It's able to stop it, and the modulation with the DB8s is able to keep it, so you can choose in between whether you're locking the bike up or you're just trying to feather it to slow down. Final thoughts, I mean, this bike is a super fun ride. I'm gonna say it's kind of made for anybody who's out there more of like just an adventure rider. You're not going out there to be king of the mountain or anything like that. You're just out there to have fun and a really good ride. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Make sure to like and subscribe.